All right, those of you guys who saw the screenshot up there, you're probably wondering why the hell is Sean posting up pictures of a Playboy bunny? It's not a Playboy bunny. That is Anna Moomin, folks. I told you she was pretty. She's also got some rocks, I tell you. God damn, she'll say things that, well, yeah, I say them. Anna's a badass. A few months ago, 2 months ago, she posted this video. Copy video URL. And then, blam, paste. Autistic people, they aren't necessarily all that great at public speaking, but that doesn't mean that they're not capable. We're all aware, all of us, whether you want to admit it or not, we're all aware that pretty will get you heard. Anna Moomin is very pretty. However, she also says things that need to be said. And she's not the only one. You guys throwing a bunch of money at Autism Speaks, because that's the big one that's advertised, right? Let me tell you something about advertising. Advertising costs money. Where do you think your donations are going? They're going to advertising. There are a lot of autism charities that are looking for a cure. I don't need to be cured. I'm a human being. We are all different. There is nothing wrong with me being different. There is something wrong with the way that you treat me for being different. When you're autistic, here's what it's like. Your entire life is preemptive strikes. Your entire life is people hitting you because they thought you were going to hit them. Really? If I was going to hit you, I'd have hit you. You were scared because I was yelling at you. You probably shouldn't have been yelling at me. It's a whole life of seeing people experiencing things that you're not allowed to experience. It's seeing people have freedoms that you will never be allowed. It's seeing people get away with things that you have never done, but you're getting in trouble for those things. The link that I just posted up, it's called Why We Need Autism Acceptance. I'm not asking you to send money to her charity at all. I'm asking you to find some fucking way to get her as much help as you possibly can to get her voice back for us. I didn't pick her just because she was pretty. She's also intelligent. She is also autistic. I want you to look at Anna Moomin, and then I want you to look at traditional autistic people, your traditional idea of autistic people. I want you to to play the hell, I might be able to find it even. There it is. I'm working on it. I'm trying to remember that that keyboard doesn't work. It's a bad habit. I'm I'm working on it. It takes a while to break it. Kind of like my sleep schedule. If if my sleep schedule gets screwed up like it has this week, one severe panic attack or one terrible nightmare is enough to do it. It takes me a whole week to reset my schedule. If people want me to do stuff after I've passed out, I've passed out. I didn't go to sleep. I passed out of exhaustion from trying to get you all to understand. It is truly a nightmare. See a music trailer. All right, here's the trailer. It's a minute and 1 second long. No, it's a Facebook ad. I wonder if Facebook will kick me off of Facebook or kick my video for copyright infringement because one of their ads was playing in my video. This video right here, this is the thing by Sia. Those of you who come on later after I've already made these videos, um, if you can't see the comments, it's because they're in the live chat. So just go up to the upper right hand corner. You might have to scroll up just a tiny bit, but it'll say live chat. Some of them it'll say chat. Live chat is turned off for this video. I don't know what that's about on some occasions. Usually it's because nobody typed anything. Or occasionally I've noticed that it's because I was the only person who typed. Anna Moomin, she has been she's been speaking for us for a lot of years. She's been showing the world that we're not your stereotype. You can have autism and still be beautiful. In her case, she is an absolutely wonderful human being for putting herself out there in that way. I mean, that takes a lot. I know how much that takes. For me, I have to be outgoing. I have to be. You don't understand the dynamics of it because you don't live it. See, that's something that when I hear about other people, how walking down the street, they have to be afraid that somebody could hurt them over a bad opinion, and you guys have been seeing how their fears are not unfounded. So I mean, it's not like their paranoia is unjustified. Their paranoia is justified. Giving medications to somebody who is being victimized is not going to stop the victimization. No matter how much you want to throw that at every fucking autistic person, like we're all retarded, you know how screwed up that is. See, and a lot of y'all, you think that because you don't use the word retarded, that you're not still treating us that way. A rose by any other name would still be a rose, would it not?
But soft, what light up yonder window breaks. 'Tis the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more beautiful than she.
Whatever. We're not stupid. There are a lot of high functioning autistic people in the world. We still have many of the same issues as people who are immodal. Sensory overload does exist. It's not some figment of our imagination. It's not some excuse that we're making up because we want to get away with being naughty. Here's our world. Part of the world is punishing us for existing because we're different. The other part of the world doesn't care. That is our world. There's a few exceptions to the rule, and we are so glad for them. And I do mean we. And I can't speak for every single autistic person out there. When I say we, I'm talking about a lot of different people and not just autistic people. You do not have to be autistic to have sensory overload issues. If you have PTSD, you probably have sensory overload issues. A lot of you guys, you get it brainwashed into your heads. People tell you over and over and over again that it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. I know people who, when they went to prison, they had to go to prison for crimes that they didn't commit, right? So they're in prison and they're sitting before the parole board, and the parole board doesn't want to let them out unless they have to pretend that they're guilty, even if they've maintained their innocence the entire time. The board's not letting them out unless they pretend like they're guilty. The way that the board talks to them is as if 100% beyond any shadow of a doubt that the things that were said about them that they were never allowed to defend themselves against were true, and this person who is sitting in this chair is not going to get released. And these some hard motherfuckers sitting in there like, man, I know I ain't gonna have a fucking real lawyer. I know nobody gives a fucking shit, but yeah, I'll be goddamned if I'm gonna fucking pretend like I did that shit for these son of a bitches. I'll sit for another 6 years. That's fucking hardcore. For most of them, it's not 6 years. You know, most of them, it's when they lock up homeless people into the prison population, they still want to make room for in case of actual fucking criminals. That's not to say that none of those homeless people are criminals. That's just to say that most of them don't belong in prison. They're there because pretty people don't want to see them. Anna Moomin, she had some computer issues a while back, and then when she got her new computer, she is having familiarity issues like I do. I'm not real familiar with this stuff, and when I'm already overloaded with a bunch of other things, putting more on my plate is you're you done stacked the deck a little bit too high. I mean, there's this amount here that I'm able to hold up. This is my temple, right? This is my triangle, my strength, right down here. But you want to continue to pile stuff on top of me. Here's more stuff, more expectations. I can't handle what I've already got on my plate. And in order to get your help with what I've got on my plate, you've got more expectations. And I'm trying to jump through your expectations and trying to get you to understand that the stuff that I'm asking for on my plate, I'm not asking you to tell me to do it. I'm not asking you to tell me how. I've already done it. I've already tried it. I already know that it doesn't work because of the way that you treat autistic people, because of the way that you treat homeless people, and because of a great many bias that are not my choice, are not my decision, and are not my fault. Now, another one is that here's one called the Aspie World. Copy video URL. All right. The Aspie World. This guy right here, he's also autistic. He's also pretty good looking. Yeah, and I know there's those of you who are gonna say I'm gay because I said that. No, he's equilateral. He's got some stuff going. I don't know, with all this COVID stuff. He's reached out a couple of times in ways that I've never seen him do before. See, before he didn't entirely depend on his channel for living on, but when the COVID hit, and they locked everything down, he lives in the UK as well, just like Hannah Moomin. When you hear them speak, they're not at all what you're going to expect. The things that they're going to talk about from their perspective there in the UK, very much things that I got to deal with here. The other thing is, and I probably shouldn't admit this, but I picked them because they have foreign accents as well. There were a lot of people that I went through, and I was trying to show people these videos, and as I was going through, I noticed patterns. Which ones are people looking at? Which ones are people watching? Oh, I post up the Anna Moomin video, and 11 people actually saw it. That's fucking amazing, because the one from, what is it, the Autism channel or something, or the Asperger's channel, that guy, that guy looked like such a dork, and he's got a very nasal sound to him, like me. And he was quite a bit younger, but he's also one of those autistic people who he's had it pounded into his whole life. You're gonna you're gonna sit down in that chair in that parole boardroom kind of situation. A lot of people, they're like, well, what if it doesn't work? What if they don't listen to me? What if it doesn't work? What are you going to do if it doesn't work? Oh, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do if you don't try. I'm going to tell you how it's going to work out if you don't try. It's not going to work out if you don't try. If you make promises to me for 6 months and then you want to pretend like you're ready to keep your word after it's already come and gone, like you beat around the bush for too long. Anyway, I'd like for you guys, if you can, get a hold of some of your rich benefactors who don't like me. See if they'll send it to these folks, because these folks are seriously like our only actual representation in the world. These are autistic people, and they can convey way better than somebody who is not autistic what it's like to be autistic. There's a couple of them on here that I got by some doctors that are, well, it's pretty old stuff. It's ancient and it's wrong. And a lot of this that we're dealing with, we've got doctors that have not learned a thing about autism in 20, 30, 40 years of medical practice. You know, that's not what they specialize in for the most part. And you guys get to hear all of these phone calls that I've had. You know, people keep telling me, well, we don't have any services here. It's like that everywhere. All right. The places that there are services, there aren't enough people to go around. Most of the people that are going around are parents. That's why I also I need you guys, if you can, get a hold of the Nebraska Autism Society. Through all of this, all of these government agencies that were supposed to fucking do this shit, all of these places that you guys keep telling me that I need to go to for help, this is where you guys can go to, for help. I can't. When Region 1 didn't do their job, and the police didn't do their job, and the hospitals didn't do their job, and the public pretenders didn't do their job, and the FBI didn't do their job, I had to try to do most of their jobs for them, and they were busy. I don't fucking know what. But it was Meg from the Nebraska Autism Society. Not Autism Speaks, who advertises the shit out of their stuff all over the place. It was the mother of someone who's autistic in North Platte, who's got a lot on her fucking plate. A lot. For her to step up to help me, she's got as much on her fucking plate as I do. Holy shit, she does. That ain't no joke. The Nebraska Autism Society. I believe it would be the North Platte one, either North Platte or Grand Island. I'm sure both of them could use some help. Those are volunteers. Your taxpayer dollars are going to pay Region 1 who didn't do their job to do what it is that Meg did. I know what kind of fucking hell that is, especially when somebody is freaking out and they really need help. I mean, look at the quantity of fucking hell that I was going through when I went and rescued Desiree. Now, yeah, sure, Meg isn't having to move around all the goddamn time. Yeah, she doesn't have people threatening to fucking kill her and shit like that. But she's got a lot of her own problems that aren't trivial issues. A lot of folks, they wanted to bombard me with trivial issues. Like, here I am, I need your help, and you're bombarding me with a lot of times just useless, idle fucking chit chat. And trying to explain to y'all that I don't, I get bored with your idle chit chat. If we're not doing something or learning something. If there is no purpose or function to what we're doing, what the fuck are we doing? We're wasting time. Let's do something productive with our time. Right now, the best thing I can do with my time is to try to educate you guys, because the more educated you are, the safer world it is for me. Unless I gotta look over my shoulder for one of y'all choosing to victimize me. It's also 4:06 a.m. and I'm tired as fuck. I don't want Meg to be my advocate anymore because of how much she has on her plate, but also because of how much she knows about the efforts that I've made. I still need her. And that's a terrible thing to put on somebody with that much on their plate. Uh, I don't trust Scott. Scott's Costa. That's why when I take my stuff over there in those USB drives and I give that to him, I make sure I save copies, but all of this should be going through a lawyer and I can't afford one. He can go through there and pick and choose whatever he wants. If he wants to go through there and look at the witnesses that verify the shit that I've been going through that he doesn't want anybody to know, he can use his power to go harass those people. That's not appropriate. I understand why people are mad at me when I go to the cops with the truth, especially when many of those people, after I go to the cops, they're targeted. It's like they're targeting all the people that know I'm telling the truth. And that doesn't mean that that's what they're actually doing, but it sure as fuck feels like it. Plus, there's all the mysterious unfriendings and magic disappearances, and people later on they're all excited to see me. I'm like, why'd you block me? I didn't block you. I'm like, yeah, you did. You fucking offered to help me and then you fucking blocked me. No, dude, I offered to help you and then you fucking never got back a hold of me, is what they're telling me. And I'm like, well, how's that even possible? Anna Moomin is extremely physically attractive, and those of you who saw that thing on the front, I guess, yeah, that is kind of clickbait. You saw a pretty face and went click. She's autistic, bud. No, you can't date her. You'd probably treat her like she was a fucking retard. She's already got a partner. She's also got a voice that is heard. I mean, let's look at how many people. 8.95 thousand subscribers. Not even close to as many subscribers as those wingnuts nut jobs that are all in love with murder. Those of you who listen to Rob Gavigan are pretty well in love with murder. Those of you who watch Sword and Scale are pretty well in love with murder. Here's one of my favorite ones by her. You guys have heard this a lot out of me over the years, and quite a bit over the last couple of days. This video by her is entitled, You Don't Look Like You Have Asperger's. She's in the UK. We need representation. Unlike you neurotypicals who expect perfection, are not perfect, but try to put on the image of perfection, we will accept the imperfect. Most of us are far more accepting people than you will ever be capable of understanding because we know what it's like to not be accepted. There's another lady, her name is Anya Melissa, and I don't know if she would be up to it. I don't know if that is something that she would be okay with doing, but if we were to have representation, I am fine with having someone who has been to a mental hospital being representative of me. And do you know why this is? Because that experience is an experience that a lot of people have had to experience because of your ignorance and your assumptions. We're not acting up or throwing tantrums. We're having meltdowns from abuse. When a neurotypical tells another neurotypical that they're being abused, a lot of times that neurotypical will help them out somebody who's not neurotypical. Well, most of us, you, some of you kind of listen, sort of, but you zone out, you get bored, you can't connect with it. That's the point. It's not that you're bad people, it's that you can't make the fucking connection. You've got this mental block that we're somehow different. We're not. You've got this mental block that it's kind of like when you're in a room and you're with your best friend and he's visiting with somebody who he hasn't seen in a lot of years and they're talking about people that you don't even know who the fuck they are. You're not sure who these guys are they're talking about from 20 years ago, and it's kind of interesting getting to learn about your friend's life a little bit, but you're not going to remember those fucking names in 5 minutes. And you're also not involved in the conversation. You don't know those people. And you don't want to be rude. These are two old friends who haven't spoken in a long time and they're wanting to reminisce. But you are, you know, you're the third wheel in the conversation and you know it. So you do the I'm trying not to be rude thing and mind your business, accept your boredom, or maybe play on your phone, take a nap, and hope that they don't keep trying to wake you up to. In a situation like that, if you go to sleep, I notice that a lot of times those people who, are they're having a good time reminiscent, but now they're stopping because they think that they're doing something bad because you're bored and go to sleep. No, at that point, I'm already asleep. Just let me sleep. You guys haven't seen each other in a while. Don't do that shit on an account of me. Fucking visit. Talk about your old friends. What am I going to contribute to the conversation? I don't know those people. You're not doing a bad thing by visiting, and I'm not doing a bad thing by sleeping. There's no reason for either of us to be offended. There's no reason for anything like that. But then we've got the social niceties, expectations of the neurotypicals. You know, when you ask me, are you hungry? And I say no, And then you spend another 30 minutes asking me if I'm hungry and trying to shove food on me. If I'm hungry, I'm going to tell you I'm hungry. I'm not going to jump through social niceties. If I'm hungry, I'll tell you I'm hungry. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't. If I'm hungry, I usually just shut this thing off and start munching. And right here, I got some cheese. You guys would be so disgusted by the way I eat this cheese. I can't melt it or anything. I mean, I suppose I could make a grilled cheese sandwich, but usually what I do is because it's pretty dry out here, I'll pull out a couple of pieces of bread and I'll let them dry out so that they're crispy on the outside. That way it gives it kind of the texture of toast, but slightly softer. Okay, I'm actually gonna stop this video. Um, I was gonna try to put my PayPal stuff up here too for those of you who specifically want to try to donate to me. Um, uh, I'm having uh, oh my god. All right, I have a tickle at the bottom of my throat right here, and talking is making me cough. I'm sorry.